Well, good afternoon, everybody. One of the great honors of serving as your state senator is getting to hear the real stories of the people that I represent in Madison and getting to know people and learn of their struggles, but also learn of the heroes that step up quietly to have their backs and help them through their difficult times. And throughout my first term, we heard so many of those stories that I decided when we kicked off our second term that I was going to create an award. It's called the Foward28 Award. And the whole idea of this is essentially, I want to recognize people that don't always get the recognition that maybe they deserve. Our unsung heroes, our community leaders who lead quietly, who lead from behind the scenes, certainly not from behind what's happening, but who oftentimes find themselves volunteering, giving both time and treasure, putting everything they can into any cause that comes up, into any friend or neighbor who says, I need your help. And so we created this award, and earlier this year we were honored to recognize a veteran who got a great write-up and nomination by Mary Jane. And it was at our award ceremony, that was one of the first ones that we did, that I actually turned to Nick from my staff in the back, and I said, so usually what happens is community members will nominate somebody. And I turned to Nick and I said, in November, I'm nominating Mary Jane, and since this is my award, my nomination gets to stick. One of the benefits of creating the award. There are so many things that I've learned. So when I first ran, I got to know Mary Jane. When I first got elected, then New Berlin was no longer in my district. And then as it came back to being part of the 28th district, we've worked together quite a bit. And as we worked on this award, I found out that it's just the tip of the iceberg of what you've done. And I'll just share an anecdote. So just before this, Dave and I were over at Eisenhower celebrating the baseball team, state champions. And they said, so what do you guys have today? What else do you have? And we said, well, we're going to go over to City Hall and we're going to recognize Mary Jane. And Dave, the reaction, every one of the coaches said, oh my goodness, make sure you tell her thank you for everything that she's done. Make sure you tell her we're thinking of her and we appreciate her. And then we stood there for literally 5 minutes as they were all talking about how you've touched their lives. And I said to him, I said, this is exactly why we need to do this award. This is exactly why Mary Jane Whitty is the right person for this award. This is why all of you are here, although I did hear that Mary Jane gets a little out of hand sometimes. That's why we have so many of our law enforcement friends here to protect us. In case she gets a little fired up, I thank you very much. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate what you have done, not just for your community, but for everybody in it. What you've done for veterans, what you've done for people whose stories I haven't heard, and for having done it for so long and so consistently. And I know Representative Maxey has something that he would like to say as well quick, so I'm going to turn it over to Dave Maxey.
Thank you, Julian. I've had the honor of knowing Mary Jane for a very long time. And like most New Berlin residents, she was there to help your kids and impact their lives. So really for all the people of New Berlin who have ever had kids who Mary Jane has helped, guided, you recall, Mary Jane, we brought snacks and food, brought them to your office to just hand out to any kid that was like mine, that maybe when they got hangry, they needed a little assistance. But it was Mary Jane. If we didn't know you, I don't know that we would have brought food. You ran coats and clothing for kids in your office if they needed it. Woman, the first selfless act she ever did, I think, was retiring from the school district. But all that did is free her up to give more time to the community, which she does every single day. So thank you.
My pleasure.
When talking about presenting this award to Mary Jane, I've heard, and Representative Maxey said it just before we kicked off, I don't know if I can come up with enough words to quantify the impact that Mary Jane has had in our community. And I can't think of a better way to leave it off than to echo those words and that sentiment. Mary Jane, I ask if you'll step forward as we recognize you as the November winner of the Foward28 Award. So we'll ask you to hold this. Dave, you want to get on that side? Get this as well.
There we go.
I'll leave that to you as well to hold on to.
It's gold, one of my favorite ones.
We'll start by going to that camera. Mayor got it. Awesome. The floor is yours.
Oh, okay.
Let's go behind you.
Well, what a wonderful way to spend this day. So thank you all for being here, and thank you both for this honor. It really is a privilege to work with the vets. And like Senator Bradley said, every day there's something more we can do for our vets. And I'm really lucky that I have the ability and the opportunity to be a part of all those moments. So really, thank you so much, so much. I so appreciate this. And again, I want to appreciate all of you for being here. There's so many of you who have helped throughout the way. When I was working for the school district, all the different activities I had, I always had the support of the police department, volleyball marathons, dances, track season. I coached track with Officer Pine. Maybe someday he'll be a senator, who knows? But I just had wonderful, wonderful opportunities in this community, and it was really a blessing to work here. So again, I thank all of you for being here, and for participating, and for taking time out of your day to help me celebrate this. It's just nice, so thank you very much. Thank you.